everyone. Time for positivity cards. Yay! I've not done these for a few days. So let's see what the universe would like us to concentrate on today. Come on, universe, what would you like us to concentrate on today? Alright, hopefully just get one card out. What would you like us to concentrate on today, universe? Oh, there we go, one's falling out. Yes, very much so. It's what this channel is all about, I think. I have the power to create change. Yes, everybody's got the power to create change. In your own lives, you don't have to do it for everybody else, you know. People often think that, they can't do anything just by themselves. But I think the whole point is to actually work on yourself. It's just something that I've found that has helped me is to work on myself, and I've been able to help others then. When you're in a state of head up your ass, you can't really help anybody. Well, you can, but not as much as you'd like to, or maybe not in a positive way as you think. It's like with me and my daughter. I've thought for many years that I was doing the right thing with her, and obviously I wasn't. I understand now that I've affected her with what I went through. Just little changes in my self and my own self-esteem and things might have ended up a bit of a different life. Maybe would not have tolerated so many toxic relationships, and dragged her through those. And then she wouldn't have got affected so much. But I mean, she's learnt lessons from it. I've learnt lessons from it, and that's what it is. We need to change our own way of thinking on a lot of things, especially about ourselves. Self-confidence. But yeah, you can bring little changes into your own life to make yourself feel better about yourself. And then in turn, when you do become better, like me, you can pass on the knowledge, pass on the strength, and help others move forward. I was thinking actually of a video I was going to do earlier about how people are manipulated to think things about themselves. We are able to change that pattern of thinking in ourselves. It's like me, I always had to eat everything on my plate at work and leave the table. So I overate for many years, and it took me a long time to realise now I don't have to eat everything on my plate. I can stop when I'm full. I had to eat even when I was full, I remember having to eat Brussels sprouts. I hate them, and it was my gran would always give them to me. She knew that I hated them, and I have to eat every single one. And it was put it in your mouth, and you're bringing it back up. You're throwing it back up straight away with the rest of your tea, and it's horrible. It's a form of abuse, force feeding. I know she wasn't jamming it down my throat but the fear behind not eating my dinner, it was that much of a power that I would force this food down, even though I was regurgitating it. It's abuse. It's horrible, You never force feed people or even make them do it themselves. It causes trauma in itself, I mean, I used to hate throwing up when I was a kid. It used to frighten me. It used to scare me. It was horrible. So yeah, it was just a trauma in itself. Every time we had Brussels sprouts, as simple a thing. I loved them raw. I loved raw vegetables, but no, they was always boiled to death and tasted horrible. To the point it would make me throw up. And yeah, no, you sit there until you've eaten those. Woe betide what you get after if you don't eat them, I would have got battered, got sent to bed with a sore bum for not eating my tea. Just simple little things, but I had to change myself. I had to realise that no, I didn't have to eat all my dinner on my plate, even as an adult, when I was living by myself or going around to somebody else's house. Oh no, you don't have to eat it if you're full. you know, it was strange to have somebody say that to me. No, you don't have to eat that. You know, you can leave it. You can leave it if you fall. Leave it. You know, don't stuff it and make yourself poorly. Um, yeah, it's the same as my friend Heather. She won't mind me saying this. She had to change her way of thinking. She was brought up in a very regimental household with a very narcissistic father that was in the forces. And so was her mother, but her mother was an empath. You know, chalk and cheese, black and white, completely different people. Um, but yeah, she had to get up at a certain time. She had to have her bed a certain way. She had to have all her clothes in order and things like that. She wasn't allowed to eat until she was told. You know, she could have gone all day without any food and starving, and had to wait for her dad to come home to work for him to say, yes, you can have that. And she struggled with that through her life, even though her dad wasn't there, even after he died. She still had the feeling that if she didn't get up in the morning, get dressed, get washed, get everything straight, tidied up, you know, everything spotless, it was she'd get panic attacks and things like that and feel guilty for eating, you know, eating a little bit of breakfast, you know, things like that. And she's diabetic. And over the years, she's developed other problems with her spine, so she can't lift things very well. And she's detached her retinas from her eyes, and the operation went wrong, so she's got very limited sight. Um, I can't remember what they called it. We saw one of her people the other week to help her with some aids, you know, some glasses and things like that for her, to stop the glare of the sunshine and just light. It blinds her completely. You know, a normal day for us, you know, it's like shining a torch in her face. You know, she looks out of her front window, you know, or if you switch a light on, you know, it's just like shining a torch straight in her face. So she can't see. It's horrible for her. So she's not been able to do things. And up until I went up to see her and talk to her about this, you know, sort of like preconditioning of what we're taught to do and what we're taught we should be doing. And it's okay not to do things that we don't want to do, that we've been preconditioned to do in our lives. And it's okay to change. It's okay not to feel guilty that you've stayed in bed till 10 o'clock in the morning instead of up at 7, and that you're still in your jammies all day. You know, you're having a chill day, you're having a day off. You don't have to get dressed and just to go downstairs and sit down and watch the telly or whatever she does during the day. You know, tidy up and all that. And even though the place is tidy from the day before, you know, it's still the routine. Still not actually having proper meals during the day, set out, making herself something and feeling that guilty for eating it, giving it the rest of it to the dog, you know. Yeah, she felt very guilty for eating, you know, and she's diabetic. She needs to have proper meals and certain times of the day, you know, just to regulate her own blood sugars. And it was causing her problems. But now she's understanding that no, it's her life, you know, it was her dad's rules, and they were absolutely ridiculous rules to live by. You know, they were torturous rules. You know, it was over the top. You know, you could have your normal regimen of waking up at whatever time and doing your housework and things like that. But no, this was strict every single day. You know, it had to be, and she had that ingrained into her. So even after he died, you know, she felt guilty for not doing these things. Even when she couldn't do these things because of her physical health, she felt so guilty that she couldn't do, you know, sort out things that she needed to. And she'd have her dad's voice in her head telling her off, and I was the same with my gran, you know. It's like I used to get asked when I was having psychological analysis, do you hear voices in your head? Which I do, but they're either my own or it's my gran telling me off, you know. Her tone of voice and things like that, you know, when I feel like I've done something wrong, it'd be her in my head, or people that have bullied me and things like that in my head that are telling me off, and that's what it is. You hear their voice, and it's a trigger. very much so. But it's trying to unlearn all their voices, that it's just their opinion, and it's not necessarily the right opinion. 9 times out of 10, it's the completely wrong opinion and something that you shouldn't be following in the first place. You know, it's just a twisted version of truth, very much so, or not no truth whatsoever. You know, the complete opposite of what you need to be doing. Um, and once you realise that, it's quite easy to start changing. Once I explained this to my friend Heather, I only started going around seeing her November last year, and just in these few months, you know, what we're on 7 months, something like that. Um, there's been such a difference in her, but in myself as well. We've helped each other. Just talk about things and put things into place, and having somebody there just to go, yeah, that's what I do. You know, I do that. Why do I do that? Well, I do that because of that. Oh, is that why I do that? Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, and you link it to things in your own life, and it's eye opening, and it's freeing. Very much freeing. You know, your brain sort of like the penny drops. The light comes on. Boom. Woo, oh yeah. This is how it should be. Oh, my head feels better now. I feel better now. This has got to be good. This must be the way forward, you know. You start feeling better after so many goddamn years of feeling, in survival mode. You know, that sort of, because there's so many different feelings when you're trapped in that sort of mentality. There's just too many to list. There's so much varies, you know. But it's nice that when you actually do realise all this, that there is a way forward, and your brain just goes, oh yeah, that's the way to do it, and I like that, and it stays with that. Um, it takes a little bit to get into it. You know, it's like with learning with anything. You know, it takes a few times before it just starts becoming natural. But once you start learning new patterns of thinking, and getting shot of all the negative stuff that you've been made to think about yourself and the world, you know, it is so freeing. All your anxiety disappears, all the panic of making decisions and doing the right thing disappears, and then your brain's got time now to think of other things, and you know, you've not got the spiraling thoughts all the time thinking you're doing something wrong and leading on to something else and triggering something else, and you know, a constant nightmare. Um, it's very empowering, very empowering, just to have your own brain back. Um, I don't think I've ever actually had my own brain to myself. It's a new experience. Yeah, not being manipulated by other people to think things. It's even in the media, through governments and things like that. I can see all the toxic behaviour, and it doesn't affect me as much as I used to. It used to. I still get like I did that post on Boris Johnson the other day. I mean, me and Mel, I've just been to see. She's into her politics. You know, she's up for people's rights, very much so. The same as me. We go off on one, but she puts the news on, watching the latest current news and things like that. So yeah, we put the world to rights, you know, while we're sat there watching all this going off. But we can see the toxic behaviour. I mean, she's learning about it too, but she recognises it. But she recognises the reasons why it's like that as well, which is good. And once you do understand all this, you can make better decisions for yourself and about other people. And even just the littlest change. You know, we have the power to change ourselves, which then gives us the power to change other people in a good way. We've all been changed into the bad way of thinking for so many hundreds of years, and it needs to stop. Something needs to stop. All this toxic behaviour in every walk of life needs to be exposed, and it needs to start with kids at an early age. You know, teach them about empathy, teach them about mental health and how to keep mental well-being. Expose all these abusers, expose all these toxic ways of thinking, you know, racism, sexism, homophobia, everything, you know. Um, it's all toxic ways of thinking, negative, narcissistic, psychopathic, whatever you want to call it. It's all toxic, um, and there needs to be a shift, very much so, because it's been taken over for so long now. And we can see the damage that it's doing on an individual basis to people's brains. It is brain damage, very much so, on the highest level, just by what one person can do to another. It's quite scary, really. Um, but yeah, I am living proof that, you know, we can move forward, just as individuals, once we recognise what's going on in ourselves and in other people, and make that choice to stand up and not take it anymore. Speak up, and not be afraid to speak up. Um, yeah, I have the power to create change, and good change. So I should say lots of love to everyone. Thank you everybody for liking, subscribing, sharing, and commenting. All your beautiful, wonderful comments are amazing. Keep it up, everyone. You know, pass on the good vibes to everyone and the good information. If you know anybody that might benefit from this channel, please share discreetly. If you are able to share. If you're not able to share, then don't worry. But yeah, share discreetly. I don't want anybody tagged in this, you know, because it might set off panic attacks in someone, or it might actually trigger an abuser, you know, to take it out on a victim, you know, asking why they've got this sort of content going on. Do they think they're a domestic abuser and stuff? You know, it can kick off so much stuff. So just do it discreetly. Just share my link and let everybody else pick and choose if they want to click it or not. But yeah, I don't want to cause any more problems to anybody in the world than there already is. But yeah, thank you everybody for joining me, and I hope you liked today's card. I thought it was very good, especially for what's going on in the world at the moment. Big changes everywhere, not just individually but globally as well. And I know it's all devastating at the moment what we're going through, but it is all for the good. All these people are getting exposed for who they really are. And you cannot ignore the toxic mentality behind it all. It's all going to be linked soon. I can feel it coming, very much so. Big changes. So you just make your little changes within yourself, and the big changes will catch up after. So sending you love and light, everyone. Bye bye.